Welcome to the Wealthy Woman by Design show with me, your host, Tierra Womack, human design-based business mentor, alignment, and wealth coach, where I have the honor of bringing guests on the show who inspire me so much with their stories of their journey to success, their journey stepping into their money story, their money mindset of wealth, and how they embody human design in their business and in life so that they can have success on their terms. So today I have Kristen Diaz with me, the beautiful, lovely alignment coach. Kristen's mission is to help women reclaim their time and still hit their massive goals. You know, that's my kind of language right there. Her two businesses, Vow and Vast and Remotely Balanced, are centered around helping conscious women find that elusive work-life balance by blending spirituality into an action-packed strategy. So welcome to the show, Kristen.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be on here with you.
Yes. So we were actually introduced. I have to give a little bit of background. We were introduced because for those of you who know a little bit about my story, I have a son who's a reflector, energy type in human design. And I was speaking with someone and I was talking about creating this reflector community and not knowing a lot of reflectors other than a few clients. And she was like, I have somebody for you because Kristen is that 1%, the true 1%, also a reflector. So I was like, I have to talk to this individual on top of the fact that she's like sincerely very dope, like very amazing individual energetically. I just was telling her, like, I want to carry her around with me everywhere because her energy is so on point. So I just had to give that little bit of background in regards to, you know, who you are. But before we jump into your reflector human design, I have to ask you about the Vow and Vast, because I am like enamored with business names and how they are created. So how did you come up with Vow and Vast?
Ooh, goodness, it's been a minute, but Val and Vast was created originally because I thought that I was going to be an event planner. And then I quickly figured out how burnt out, like how quickly I can burn out with the deadlines and the pressure and all of that. So after I was kind of done event assisting for some of Tampa's event planners, it's like, okay, we're now loving marketing and project management. So I'm like, how do I make this work? Because it's a dope name. I'm not dropping it. It's already filed. If the government recognizes it, I can't do anything about it. So I gotta make this work. So as I was a VA at the time, and I was slowly moving into an online business manager role. And then obviously I'm now a coach. So I needed a name that fit the bill. So I kind of just say to people, like, Vow and Vast is a vow from myself to your business that'll grow with you no matter how much I vastly pivot my business or how vastly you pivot your business. Like, I'm there for the entire ride. And I think there's something there that happened manifestation wise, because the minute I kind of set that into place, I've had pivots over time and my clients have followed with me as they transition into their, most thriving, up level, soul fulfilling businesses. And it's just been incredible. So yeah, Val and Vast, originally an event planning company, and turned right back into my love for marketing. So yeah.
Oh, that's so juicy and delicious. Like, I love that. And, you know, you're not going to see that anywhere. I've never heard of that name. You know how there are some that are a little generic, but Vow and Vast, like, if you hear that, you know that's Kristen. Okay. So let's jump into this reflector energy, the real 1%. As a reflector, have you seen, especially with the pivots that you've experienced in your business, have you seen where once you learn that you were a reflector, the importance of your environment in your business? And also talk to me about once you found out with the reflector strategy and whatnot of waiting that, you know, moon cycle, right? Like, did that blow your mind in business? Because I have so many clients, reflector clients, when I tell them that part as far as decision making, they're like, so what does that mean for me in my business? Like, what does that really look like? So please touch on the two.
Absolutely. So I'll kind of take it back to me discovering human design. So it was about a few years ago, and I was doing cycle management. I was tracking my cycle. I really wanted to learn the different phases of my energy. So I was already kind of dipping my toes into learning about energetics and how to show up in my most divine, juicy feminine energy. Um, and then there came a point where I felt that I was really affected by the moon. Like I just noticed that the moon is just in different kinds of energies. Like today, I didn't even plan this, Tierra. Like I had obviously this wonderful appointment with you, but I also had another appointment, but then I also had to record things today. And I was just like, you know what, we're just gonna all look cute on just this one day, get it all knocked out. And then my little notification came up on my phone. It's like Leo energy. And I'm like, I could not have planned that any better. It was insane.
Oh my
So these little coincidences started happening. I'm like, why am I so affected by the moon and no one else is? This is insane. So I started getting a little stuck in my businesses. There was kind of I wanted to start a new business, but I didn't know what that looked like. And in Bound Fast, I was still a virtual assistant, but I was kind of getting a little tired of that. I was like, needs to be a next level for this to give me more space and ease. Like I was craving all the things that reflectors in alignment craved, but I was not there. But I was like slowly inching towards it without me even knowing. And my lovely friend Brittany, she introduced me to human design. She's like, have you heard of this? Because we were talking about personality tests. So I was like, it's because I'm introverted, or it's actually because I'm an ambivert, because I can do both, not knowing that's like a reflector literally talking, because I can just chameleonize in my environment.
I got it. I know exactly what you meant, Kristen. You just alienize it. Yep.
Yep. Just made up a new word. Hi, everyone. But she introduced me to it. She's like, you're a reflector. This is why you don't feel like you kind of belong anywhere, because you don't, but that's in an empowering sense. It's like you soak up everyone's energy and vibes, and you need to hermit sometimes to get out of that. And then that's what really clicked with me, because I always thought that there was something so significantly wrong about me being okay in my room. And obviously for my parents and me growing up, I was always in my room reading, I was always in my room dancing, I was always in my own space, if I wasn't playing with friends or being extroverted, whatever. And my parents always thought that was a concern, so I used to think that was a concern. And then once, human design really validated, like, hey, no, that's where all the good shit happens, is when you're hermiting, you're honing in your talents, you're discovering new things, you're learning, and it's just naturally clicking. So then my 4, because I'm a 2/4, so when I'm out in my networking energy, like that's what I give off, and it's so much more magnetizing that way. So I learned about that very quickly, and it just made so much sense. So when my strategy and authority came into place, I'm like, are you kidding me? It's like, and it made sense, because obviously I was already cycle tracking, which is to the phases of the moon. And then now I have this confirmation in human design, being like, you were doing it right. You were leading yourself there all along. And it's so crazy. So even now, as you just heard, I naturally just structure the way I work around the different phases of my cycle. And sometimes a beautiful surprise and coincidence will happen when the energetics of the moon align with what I'm doing for the day and really help boost me in whatever energy that is that I need to channel to show up and be, this little magnetizing, energetic human that you see in front of you. When probably after this, I'm going to probably work out and then pass out. Like I expended all my energy. I'm like, all right, I'm good.
Listen, I am giving you all the sacral energy right now, all my generator energy. You could just soak that up for the time being. But I love it. I'm so fascinated. And this, just listening to you absolutely lets me know we must have like part 2, part 3 of this, because as a mom of a reflector and having clients that are reflectors, I think that like your voice needs to be heard more in regards to operating in that way for the people who also know that they are reflectors, or maybe don't even know their design. They're just listening into the show, but they resonated with some things that you just said, where it piques their interest to find out. Because I always say it's information. So it's like, it's not for you to like typecast yourself, right? Like, oh, I have to do this. It's just all about knowing what can help you be a little bit more in alignment, in flow, and ease. So I love what you just shared with us all. And like talking about the different cycle phases naturally aligning, like, does that take part in you creating that spacious schedule for your business, but also for your life as well? Do you see that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think I just naturally do that now. So if anyone's asking you to do something personally or professionally, I'm like, okay, so what date is that? So if you remember when we were trying to schedule
Yeah.
this little date, I was like, can you do it was like specifically the week you probably didn't ask for, but I forgot because I was like, that's my follicular. I need to do it then. And then you're like, oh, we'll do it this day. And then I checked, I was like, oh, I'm ovulating. It's fine. Like I'll be in my peak energy. And then hopefully it just doesn't drop into luteal because then I'm gonna be literally falling asleep on this call. So
No matter what, right? Like no matter how lit up you are, it's such a combination of all of it, right? Right? Like all the energetics of it, but having that roadmap of your design, but also understanding the moon cycle for you as a reflector, like, come on. It's like you
yeah.
can't make this stuff up. It just blows my mind so much. It's like my sacral. I'm like, my sacral's about to jump out of like the top of my head because this is so amazing. But well, let me like shift a little bit more into the money conversation.
Mm.
So, with you having success in your business with the marketing and also still with your VA business as well, like what would you say is the number one money block that you've had to overcome on your journey of success and creating success on your terms?
Yeah, definitely. I think scarcity was definitely the biggest mind block. And I think that's a continuous block that I just kind of have to always work through. I didn't realize that scarcity was a mind block until maybe last year, at the end of last year. And then I started, doing coaching programs, being part of programs that really centered around healing the way that you view money. And I never knew that that was an issue because I am a millennial. So, I got that student loan debt. So that
Yes,
is a big,
you.
big,
Mhm.
big burden to have on someone's mind. Like that's probably the reason, half the population's anxious because we have so much to pay back. And um, that's where a lot of the scarcity came from. And then, of course, I think scarcity mindset comes even down from your ancestors. Like there has been some kind of scarcity root somewhere that was planted and it's just transferred over because both of my parents have, experienced scarcity and that gets traveled down to us to hopefully break and clear so any generations forward can live without that feeling because that's definitely something that has always been a huge deal because every time I would be on top of my game, like I would automatically think I'm like, well, I don't have the things in place that I need in case if, this fell out and I need that money and that it will always happen. It still happens. It's a cycle for me because as a reflector, I can go, go, go for some seasons and then I need to really take a break. So for me, that scarcity mindset really comes into play because I'm like, I'm not even a generator. I'm not a manny gen. I'm not any other type. Like I literally can't go, go, go. Um, or, create new businesses or do all this stuff, I can't do it at the pace that, half the population is going at. So that scarcity mindset is very much embedded, but I've just learned to let go,
Mhm.
surrender, and really take care of myself because I notice the more spiritual routines that I have and the more I just let go and let God, the more amazing things happen and I am always taken care of and there's not one point this past year since I've started working on, healing the scarcity mindset that I haven't been taken care of. Like something hasn't come in, there's just always been an abundance of so many things as I've started doing the work. So now I'm in a place where investing in myself, which is investing in my business, and things are just on the up and up and in a way that it's solidified to stay that way instead of, cycles of it happening. So it's a little,
Then you are speaking my whole entire language. I mean, from the cycles of zero, like, let's talk about how I was that, like, 7-figure business and still bringing myself to cycles of zero, if not monthly, then quarterly. And like you said, it's a continuation. Like, that's why this show is so important to me, to help women heal that money wound that comes down through generations. It's like scientifically proven that once we heal something at the subconscious level, that we heal 7 generations back for those who weren't able to move through the scarcity and the cycles of zero and the sabotage. But we also heal 7 generations forward so that they don't have to do this brave work that we're doing right now. So, like, all of what you said just resonated and hit home so much. And I see a lot of clients that have undefined ajnas centers in their human design too, that will deal with flow or unease when it comes to, like, is there enough clients, enough money, da 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 da, you know what I mean? And I just feel like it's very important to just put a finger on that and bring it to light. And like you said, it's a journey though. It's a everyday, it's just like, you don't do the work and then it goes away. It's an everyday journey as far as that goes with your money. And that leads me to my next question, like, how you merge women in wealth when it comes to time management. Because I always say that, time is money, right? Time is the real wealth, but you also feel like that too, that it's the ultimate abundance resource. So talk a little bit about that.
absolutely. It is the ultimate resource. It is something that, you have to really carve out your life for. It's not something that's handed to you automatically, especially as women in business. It's a little difficult. We're kind of running around all the time. So I use human design to really see where a person's conditioning is really sitting at, especially for like generators who are like, I have to do this 9 to 5. I should be doing this. Like a lot of sacral and root deconditioning areas, because time creates space and ease for a person. And the more you're creating space and ease throughout your job, your business, your life, you're creating this space. I'm going to keep saying space and ease because those that's the way I describe it. You're creating space for your mind, body, and soul to really reconnect and, get back in touch with passions that really light you up. It helps you get realigned to what it is that you want to do. So by using time management and helping people set boundaries, looking at where their conditioning is at, and helping them create a schedule that is uniquely for them, not only using human design, but cycle management as well, that really helps people organize the time and see where, cyclically, they're doing the most, they're doing the least, and where their time is going. So that, those little pockets of time they have to rest, relax, take a vacation, spend time with their family, go out on a date, like do all the normal things, but with ease, instead of, feeling that overwhelming sensation of I have to do it all the time. It's like, actually, no, as women, we actually have an advantage here, which everyone has always kind of, we were taught growing up by men. It's like, oh, you guys can't keep up with us. I'm like, yeah, because your cycle literally turns over in 24 hours. How lame.
Yeah.
Ours is a whole month. Ours is a whole month. That's why you get 4 different women. Okay. Yeah. You're welcome.
I love that. And that is so on point, because as a generator, even before I knew that though, I knew I was addicted to hustle, because to me, growing up, I was taught that hustle equals success. So now it's like, I have to, because you know how it is, like as a generator, when I am in my passion and lit up, I can literally go and go and go. And I get these bursts of energy. So it's like, I just keep resetting, but it's like coming to that point of, no, you need to rest, like unplug, turn the sacral energy switch off, and, honor yourself in that way without feeling like, well, I must not want it bad enough because I am pausing, and I always say too, like, you can create as much money as you want, but do you have the time to enjoy it? That to me is the real wealth. And I don't work with clients in the capacity that you do, but even outlining VIP days for them based on their design is like, I can see how what you do creating, helping these entrepreneurs create their schedules around, like, it gets to be this easy. You get to have this much balance. You get to have this much time to reinvest in other things without feeling like you don't want success, which is like the biggest lie. It
Yeah.
infuriates me.
Yeah, it is very aggravating. And then, like once you figure out what works for you with your schedule, then you're automatically figuring out how else to simplify in other areas of your life so that you're living with more intention. So, coming from that VA business manager background, I'm automatically helping when I'm like, have you tried this app? Have you tried this method? Things like that, but just keep furthering how much time actually exists for them. So and that definitely goes against hustle culture, because hustle culture wants you to work until it's perfect. And it's like, actually, you don't have to work 8 hours. You don't have to work 12 hours. You can probably work 4, still get it done, and have resources and support through other systems, people to help you get there. Like, there is no shame in that particular game of working harder but smarter, like
Yeah.
that scenario.
Listen, I am so for it. And then especially as a fellow 4-line, like, I am all about network, being success, asking for help. But it took me a long time to get there, just feeling like, well, if I want it done right, I do it myself, or people were there to help and offering help, but it was like, it made me weak or something, like not as good of an entrepreneur if I need all this help, or if I keep collaborating, and which is, still that help and being able to have more free time because you're doing things in a collaborative space and way versus trying to do everything yourself. But that's, even sometimes I can feel that creep back in. Like, even with my staff, I'm like, I'll just do it. And I'm like, no, like, you literally pay people to do these things. Like, it's okay. And you trust them to do it, and they do it very well. So I know that that's something that I definitely still deal with. So thank you so much for touching on that. And now I want to ask you, in regards to inspiration, who is inspiring you right now? Is there a person, a thing?
Let's see. I think, well, it's a twofold. I do have a person, I do have a thing. My thing is tarot. So I've had a pip deck for the longest time, but it wasn't traditional tarot cards. So I learned my deck, but I don't know the traditional deck. And I finally got a traditional deck. So I'm really excited because my energy, since I am a reflector, like, things absorb my energy and I absorb their energy. So tarot cards really absorb. So I tend to get really scarily accurate readings on myself and for people. So it's just a really fun tool that I'm using right now to kind of gauge what the energy is for today. Like, what resources do I need? What do I need to remember? That kind of thing. So that I've been really loving that lately. And then the person would be Miss Natalia Benson. She is an astrologer turned business strategist, money mindset coach as well. You should check her out because she's in that same field, but she is a boss bitch. And she is the one that I did a program with that first addressed the, relationship with money. And I didn't even know it was a thing until she said it. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What? And then my reflector was just like, yup. There was no hesitation. Like, that was the first time where I'm like, I don't need 28 days. Like, I knew after 2 days, I was like, I can't shake this feeling. Like, it felt like a generator feeling. I was like, yup, this is it. This is it. So definitely check her out. She is really, really great.
She is. No, Natalia is the bomb. And I love how she breaks down money as well. So, well, I think those are both very, very inspiring. And so I just have to thank you so much. Like I said, I already see the second, third, fourth continued conversations with you if you would do me the honor of being back on the show, because there's just so much. We've only, I feel like, scratched the surface and can go deeper when it comes to these real raw conversations. So for those of you who are either listening in on the podcast or watching, you can get in contact with Kristen by following her on social at Remotely Kristen, Kristen, and Vow and Vast, VOWANDVAST. So is there anything else that you'd like to share before we wrap up the show? Anything else going on?
Oof, not really, except for, the pivoting of the businesses per usual, but just encourage everyone to listen to your body, listen to what you need, and please make sure to rest. It's big, 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 big.
Amen to that. Well, if you've enjoyed the show, please share it with a friend or three. Share the love, share the value. And if you would like to dive deeper into your human design, shifting your money mindset, uncovering those money blocks, removing self-sabotage with money, all of the things, please feel free to reach out. You can find me on Instagram at The Brave Way, or email me hi@thebravewaytribe.com. So hi@thebravewaytribe.com. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart, Kristen. It has been so much fun, such a great conversation. And I hope that you will join me again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Bye, everyone.